All right, guys, welcome back to Catholic Pipes. I'm your host, Kadesh, and today I have a really awesome episode, or at least I hope it is. I want to talk to you guys about the practice of pipe smoking and how there is a strong correlation between theology of incense and the ritual of pipe smoking, and how together they can lead to quite a prayerful experience. So get ready, guys. This is going to be a good episode. But first things first, we got to talk about the Catholic pipe. So as of right now, we're close to 50% sold, which once again, I am incredibly grateful for the support. The emails that I've gotten from you guys saying, one, that you love the pipe, those who've received them, and two, those who have just kind of given an outpouring of support saying that I love pipes, but more importantly, I want to support this ministry, I want to support this channel, and I want to support what you're doing. It means a lot to me. And I don't know what I would do without you guys. So once again, I really appreciate the support. And for all of you guys out there who are looking for, maybe you don't smoke a pipe yourself, but maybe you have a priest friend that you love to get a gift for, a seminarian, a deacon, whatever it may be, or whoever it may be, the Catholic pipe will make a wonderful gift. And so once again, just as a reminder, here are the two options that we have. We have our nice tan and we have our nice black, both with the hopefully soon to become iconic little crosses on the back. Like I said, these guys are perfect 30-minute smokes. They're amazing little gifts. And personally, I have one myself that I love to pull out when I'm smoking with friends because it's just a beautiful little billiard. And with that being said, remember, I'm going to try to move inventory so I can give you guys new shapes, new designs. So once these are sold out, I will not, in the foreseeable future, be offering another straight billiard again. So if you like this shape, you like the colors, please put your order in. I'll have in the description, I'll put the specs and how to order. Remember, there's 7 days left and we're about 50% sold. So if you'd like one and you like this straight billiard that is in commemoration of Pier Giorgio Frassati, please make sure you get them ordered. All right, now that the housekeeping stuff's out of the way, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this video, which is incense and pipes. So, what is it with incense? We know that incense have been around forever. It's been used in Catholic liturgies for centuries and symbolizing the prayers of the faithful rising to heaven. As the psalmist said in Psalm 14, verse 2, let my prayer be counted as incense before you, and the lifting of my hands as the evening sacrifice. The burning of incense, it's a sensory reminder of the divine presence, creating an atmosphere of reverence and mystery. Now think about that for a second, all right? Let's think about this. In the liturgy, in Mass, depending on which one you go, East or West, there are signs and symbols all around us that are trying to invoke an encounter, but more importantly, paint a picture of the reality that is happening at the Mass, where the divine touches down on earth. And so when we think about that, we have to remember that when we are in Mass or liturgy and we see the incense and the smoke rising, it's not just because it's ancient, it's part of tradition, or there to aggravate your allergies. No, it's there for us to be able to see it for what it is. Perspective is key when it comes to kind of any facet of life. Perspective can make or break your endeavors in life. But perspective is really important when you get to the sacrifice of the Mass, to the sacrifice of the liturgy, the mysteries. Because when you look at it, you need to change the perspective and realize that I'm witnessing the prayers of the faithful moving up. It represents divine presence, the Holy Spirit. When you see the smoke wafting in and out, in between people, rising up, down, and spreading out, that is the presence of the divine intermingling with us. So Take that with you when you go to Mass or liturgy. See the incense a little bit differently. Instead of, once again, just as sounds or smells, visually look at it and realize that that is the presence of the Holy Spirit. That is our prayers ascending. And I can almost guarantee that if you can get into that perspective and that mindset, you're going to have a radically different encounter at Mass and at liturgy than you have had in the past. So remember, pay attention to the signs and symbols, sights and smells that are going on, because they all serve a purpose. And that's for you to make sure your eyes are fixed squarely upwards. Now, theologically speaking, incense represents purification and sanctification. I mean, think of it when you have seen movies, or you've kind of like, if you've ever like seen a lot of supernatural stuff, even the shamans will utilize like burning sage, for instance, and they use that as purification. So there is this kind of, I would say, almost integral aspect of incense representing some sort of purification that really is spread out amongst many cultures. So there is something to it. And the smoke not only purifies the space, the sacred space, but it also signifies sanctification, right? It represents the sanctification of the people gathered in worship. St. John Chrysostom once said, "The smoke of incense is a visible symbol of the prayer that rises to God in the fragrance of holiness." Now, here's another thing to look at, right? When we look at the incense, it's, once again, not just merely us visually seeing it. We're engaging all of our senses during the sacrifice of the Mass and the mysteries of the liturgy. But not only do we see it, the visuals, and tie the visuals to the Holy Spirit in prayers, but St. John Chrysostom even says, using your nose, smell it. That's the smell of holiness. Ain't that something? Not only do you visually see purification, sanctification, prayers, and presence of the divine, but he's also saying, smell it. Get accustomed to that smell. That is the smell of holiness. This kind of blew my mind when I saw that quote. I thought that was really cool, that kind of olfactory representation of the incense and what it means when we smell it. Now, when we look at the incense, we look at it in the context of liturgy. We see this purification. We see this setting a sacred place. We see prayers ascending and rising, the smell of holiness. And if you haven't already, I'm going to throw it out there that you're probably already kind of seeing some connections. But let's refine them. Let's really point out these parallels. Well, the context is different in pipe smoking and incense in the liturgical setting. There's a certain sacredness to the act of preparing, lighting, and enjoying a pipe. For many, it's a time of reflection, contemplation, and even prayer. Just as incense elevates the soul in worship, the act of smoking a pipe can become a personal ritual that fosters a mindfulness and peace. Now, this is something that I've said before in previous videos, but pipe smoking is a necessary antidote to the chaos around us. Now, more specifically, this is something that I saw in a conversation I was having with my wife and with some friends. I was talking about this idea of introspection and mindfulness, and how I think that practice is so vital to actually the message of the New Testament and theosis, becoming like Christ. Now, if we look at the Old Testament, what do we realize? In the Old Testament, we see that there was a lot of laws, and the laws were meant to help perfect you from the outside in. You know, I can't remember if it was the Pharisees, Sanhedrin, they had a belief that was, if everybody would stop sinning for 30 minutes, the Messiah would come. They believed that it was the sinfulness that was preventing their Messiah from coming. However, the way that they tried to make people stop sinning was laws. If we can restrict what you do, then we can prevent you from sinning. But Jesus has something very different. All right, this is very apparent in the conversation about adultery. And he was saying, it says, thou shalt not commit adultery. But then he says that if you look at a woman lustfully, you've committed adultery in your heart. This is key. This is kind of a reversal, saying that the transformation comes from the inside out. And this is why we have the sacraments. They bring grace from the inside so we can pour out the virtue from the grace we receive. But we can assist in that through introspection, taking that moment to look at your actions and ask, was I in the wrong? And be truthful. What could I have done better? Ooh, when I said that, I knew deep down that was not the right thing to say. Being mindful of that by you participating in that transformation, by taking a step back, having introspection, saying, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? And listening to that conscience that it tells you what the virtuous act is that you should be doing instead of the viceful one. And pipe smoking can assist with that. I mean, I would really say that if you are smoking a pipe and that is your alone time, make sure that you get the most out of it. Smoke that pipe and utilize that time to be able to reflect on your day, to reflect on yourself. St. Francis de Sales, who is known for his deep spirituality, once said, "Have patience with all things, but chiefly have patience with yourself." Pipe smoking, when done thoughtfully, it can be a practice of patience, presence, much like prayer. It slows us down and it grounds us in the moment, allowing us to focus our thoughts, whether it's on the divine, life's mysteries, or the pleasures of the present. That's what a pipe does for us. And being in the present is so important. Remember, we don't want to be shackled by the past. The past is gone. It's only there for us to learn for, not to be fearful, not to be anxiety causing. I mean, I'm guilty. How many of you out there have had a random memory of something that you did embarrassing a while ago and it just kind of makes you pause and go, ugh. Like, it's a learning. It's not meant for us to bring us anxiety thinking about the past. And the future's the future. We can plan for it, but remember, today has enough problems that you do not need to be thinking about the problems of tomorrow. Today's got enough to focus in on. Be in the present, be in the now. Slow down and center yourself with your pipe. Rituals. I mean, the Catholic faith is full of them. Whether in the liturgy or in our personal lives, serve to anchor us in the sacred. That's their whole purpose. They anchor us, they prepare us, and they get us ready for a sacred encounter. As St. Therese of Avila once said, prayer is nothing else than being on terms of friendship with God. End quote. In the same way, the act of pipe smoking can be a moment of friendship with oneself, with ourselves, and with God. That necessary time for ourselves, but we need to invite God into that. I mean, we have busy lives. We have busy lives. Some of us, it's hard for us to remember to pray throughout the day. Pipe smoking gives us that opportunity to sit down, relax, slow down, and bust out our prayer ropes, whether it's with the Jesus prayer or whether it's with the rosary and spending time with Jesus and the Blessed Mother. That it gives us the prime opportunity to take a moment and pray, maximizing that time and maximizing the tool that the pipe is. And it's a time, like I said, it's a time to disconnect from the world's noise and connect with something deeper, to dive deeper into ourselves and into that relationship with God, which is what He demands and craves from you. It's that relationship. So pipe smoking, it's a personal ritual, not a religious act per se, but it can still carry a sacredness that mirrors the use of incense in Catholic worship. Both practices in their own way invite us into a space of reflection and contemplation and connection with the divine. All right? So whether you're lighting a pipe or watching the incense rise at Mass or liturgy, remember the deeper significance of these moments, a call to holiness, a reminder of the divine presence, and an invitation to prayer. All right? I'm going to go off a little bit here and say this. When we think about the temple space, there are so many things that belong in a temple, sacrifice being one of them, but incense. And what do we know from the New Testament about our bodies? They're called temples. So where's the incense? The pipe is your thurible, your cadillo. It is your instrument of incense for your temple. All right? So light your pipe and incense that temple. Now, before we go, I want to leave you guys with something that I thought was so beautiful. It's a poem. And this poem, while it's short, it kind of hits at the sacredness both of what the pipe smoker enjoys and the pipe maker. And a little backstory to this. I was at a farmer's market here in downtown, and I saw this guy who he kind of looked like a nomad, the guy that you see like in cartoons who has the stick with the picnic blanket with his belongings and he hops trains. That was kind of the aesthetic the guy had. And he was sitting at this small little table tucked off to the corner with this very old typewriter. And he had a sign that said, "I will write you a poem about anything, and you just pay what you want for the poem." And so I went up to him and I was like, this is beautiful. You know, I'm looking for like art and stuff for my shop. This could be great. And they're like written on these small little pieces of parchment. And so I went up to him and I said, "Can you make me a poem about pipe making or pipe smoking, and kind of connect it to like some sort of divine aspect or motif?" And he's like, "I got you. Give me 10 to 15 minutes and I take a walk around the farmer's market. And when you come back, it should be done." And so for me, I'm worrying because like when you give someone something abstract, you never know what direction they're going to go. And so I was worried that I was just going to get something that was like blah or really missed the mark. And of course, I can't be there with that guy interrupting his art, telling him, "Oh, I like that," or "I like this," or "What about that?" and having control over it. So I had to relinquish control and thought, well, the best thing that I can do for him is I can actually pray for him that the Holy Spirit guides his thoughts. And so for that 10 to 15 minutes, I was just praying, "Holy Spirit, inspire him. Holy Spirit, inspire him." 10 to 15 minutes later, we come back. He hands me the poem and I read it. And the only thing that came to my mind was just the word perfect. This is perfect. And so at the time, I only had a $5 bill on me, so I gave it to him, but it was worth so much more. And I remember feeling so bad that that's all I had to offer him. And I remember seeing him later again, like a week later, kind of walking around the farmer's market. He wasn't doing his typewriter thing. And I said, "I'm so glad I ran into you. I have a 20 for you because that poem was just so good." And of course, he was so grateful that somebody came back to pay him more. But I had to. I felt compelled to because it was just so beautiful. All right. So here it is. Carver of sacred wands, builder of 10,000 prayers, providing the instrument, enabling the user to bless the space and enjoy the wind of flavor. The taste of plant life incinerated in the chalice of wood and love, opening the lung and nourishing the unseen. Now tell me, after talking about incense and pipe smoking, how perfectly that poem kind of encapsulates all of those strong motifs. And it reminds me that myself as a pipe maker, that the work that I do is very valuable to those who enjoy pipes, that I'm not just making something to smoke tobacco. I am creating an instrument for contemplation, an instrument for prayer. And that's kind of what the Catholic pipe is meant to do for you guys. So I'll leave you with this, guys. Take this in, bring it to Mass, bring it to liturgy, and bring it to your pipe smoking experience. And if you'd like to enhance it, remember, at the end of the day, we're 50% sold, and we've got about 13 of these guys left. Of the 26, there's about 13 left. So if you'd like one to help enrich your prayerful experience, or give it a go for the first time, or give it as a gift to somebody else, then you might want to get on it because there's only 7 days left. So I appreciate your support, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was insightful for you. And yeah, I'm about to get ready to work on the next video for you guys. So I love you. I appreciate your support. Glory to Jesus Christ. You guys have a blessed day. Bye.